People, we are Tottenham TV, and as January draws closer, we are going to be focusing on transfer targets in various different positions. First of all, we are going to be focusing on goalkeepers. We know there's been a lot of conversation regarding Guillermo Vicario this season, and it's been rumored in the press that Spurs could be looking to upgrade on him. So we've got 5 goalkeepers to look at. First one is going to be Diogo Costa of Porto. 40 million market value, as you can see there. Good age of 26. He's been a keeper that has been much talked about over the last couple of years. And I believe, is he Portugal's number one now as well?
He's been their number one for a while, and he's always been one linked with the top clubs, a big move. I think there's question marks whether he'll suit the physicality of the Premier League. I think that's always been a big question. Looking at some of his data, you can see his passing's quite good. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's quite comfortable sweeping out the penalty area. Although crosses, you can see he struggles a bit coming for crosses. But he's very much used to playing the ball short. He's also save percentage pretty strong. So I think he's a pretty good shot stopper. I don't think he's like an incredible shot stopper, but he's good. I think he's quite strong playing out the back. But there are question marks whether he'll come in and get a bit bullied.
He's a fantastic penalty saver, isn't he?
He's a very good penalty saver. Yeah, that's true. He's an exceptional penalty saver, actually. And that's something that's always caught the eye of a lot of... it gets you in the headlines, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel with Diogo Costa, with what you're saying about him being quite weak for crosses, I don't think that's a keeper that we should be going for, to be honest. I know he is a top quality keeper in his own right, and in various competitions he'll do well, and in competition football, when you get to penalty shootouts and stuff, he'll be much talked about. But yeah, I'm not so sure after seeing those metrics on his crossing.
66. He's in the 66th percentile for penalty kicks, but yeah, it's. He's known for that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think big question marks about him.
The next keeper we're going to look at is Maignan of AC Milan, 30 years of age, 25 million market value. He was about to join Chelsea last summer, wasn't he? Was it Chelsea or Manchester United? Yeah,
they
Chelsea.
Failed to agree a deal for some reason, even though it was quite a cheap fee.
Yeah, I mean, if he's available for that sort of money, it seems like it could be a bit of a no-brainer. I know he's 30 years of age, so he ain't getting any younger, but 30 for a goalkeeper is not exactly old. So I think he's a massive upgrade on what we have. And with Milan, having been linked with Vicario over the past 6 months, I think Inter Milan are more heavily linked with him, but AC Milan have also been credited with interest as well. Would you be open to Maignan?
Oh, he's what, French number one? I think he's a really good goalkeeper, actually. And yeah, it's about, do we think we can get him out of Milan? Look, in terms of January moves, I don't know if we're going to look for a replacement for Vicario.
His contract's up at the end of the season.
Exactly. So maybe they're looking for a bit of money. Maybe there's a deal to be had. I would be very open to him. I think another player, quite comfortable with the ball at his feet. I wouldn't say an incredible passer, but he's comfortable. He's got composure. Decent coming from crosses. If you look at the data, he's got decent save percentage. It actually says he's a better penalty saver than Diogo, which is quite incredible. Although it says here the post-shot expected goals on shot on target, which means per shot on target, how much is he saving? It's not great, which would imply he's not the best shot stopper, or he could be better. But I think he's a really good keeper, and I think he's done really well for France and really well for Milan.
Yeah, I think he's been one of the top goalkeepers in Europe for quite some time now, and I think whoever picks him up, Chelsea, I think they missed a trick not bringing him in last summer. They were talking about 15 million or something like that. And if Spurs can get in there and sign Maignan, obviously there's some issues there because he hasn't signed a contract and his contract is running out at the end of the season. So this one could actually be a viable option.
I'd be very interested. We should definitely be looking at him.
Yeah. Next up, we are going to look at England's number one, Jordan Pickford of Everton, 50 million market value, 31 years of age. Does he have one big move in his career? I mean, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have said no, but I actually think he's a really top keeper, Jordan Pickford. I think every time he performs for England on the big stage in the tournaments as well, he performs really well. Everton week in, week out, I think he performs at such a high level as well. Would you take him for a couple of years?
I'd probably look to the future rather than go for someone like Pickford, but I do think he would stabilise us maybe in that position. He's I was about to say calmer head, but he's also like similar to Vicario, full of passion, like so much exuberance. The thing is with Pickford, he's very used to, if you look at the stats, his passing, you can see those big blue bars. That's because he's very used to playing a lot longer passing at Everton. Pretty much ever since he's been at Everton, and even sometimes for England, the goal kicks go long. He's not used to having to play out the back too much. And I think that's something that is not natural to him. I think he's got actually a really good left foot, and he's got a really good long pass. So if he's got time to pick out a pass, he's actually really accurate. But when it comes to like being an extra defender and build up and like getting him to pass and being like an extra player, that I think he can struggle a bit in that aspect. I think his shot stopping's pretty good. It says here his crossing, though, not great from crossing. He does struggle in that aspect, and I think a lot of it comes down to because he's on the shorter side when it comes to goalkeepers, and that's obviously a problem.
He must be one of the shortest keepers, if not the shortest keeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's probably, to be honest. So that's obviously an issue. I think he's a really good keeper. Do I think he's the answer? I don't think he would be a liability if he came, but I don't think he comes and is one of the best keepers in the league.
Do you think he's an upgrade on Vicario?
Probably, yeah.
I would say, if we have hopes that Kinski can be that keeper in 2-3 years' time, then I think it could be a smart move to bring in Jordan Pickford as kind of a stopgap while we're waiting for Kinski to develop. If not, and there are kind of worries about Kinski, you could still sign Pickford until you can find your long-term replacement for a keeper, or you just go for a keeper of a more valuable age. So I wouldn't say it's the worst signing in the world. I would be open to it, but yeah, I mean, after seeing those crossing metrics, it's not the greatest. But anyway, let's move on. Another keeper plying his trade in the English football is James Trafford, 23 years of age, at Manchester City, 25 million market value. Man City signed him, which looked like it was to be their number one this season. And after a kind of a horror start to the Premier League this season, they signed Donnarumma. And obviously Donnarumma, one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in world football right now. And I think James Trafford will be a very good keeper in the years to come. But right now, I don't think he's ready to be Tottenham's number one.
Yeah, I think that's the big question mark about him. I think he's clearly talented. Another goalkeeper, pretty solid or comfortable with the ball at his feet. But again, another one who struggles with a bit of physicality. He does remind me of a bit of a young Lloris, but better with his feet. So I think on that basis, give him a bit of time and give him a couple of years, because he's quite a slender frame for a goalkeeper, Trafford. But I think he's got a lot more composure on the ball. But I do think he struggles with the physicality sometimes. He does get bullied sometimes, and he can get caught under the ball when coming for crosses and battling with strikers. And I think sometimes his decision-making when playing out the back isn't great. He was phenomenal in the Championship, though, last year. Phenomenal for Burnley. And that maybe convinced people, is he ready for the step up again? But when he was in the Premier League, not so great.
I mean, when he was in the Premier League, it was 2 years ago. It was 21 years of age, so very young to be a number one in the Premier League. And yeah, I think he made a lot of mistakes that year under Vincent Kompany.
They dropped him at some point.
For Muric, wasn't it? And Muric was terrible. So that kind of shows you how ready he was for the Premier League. And like I said, comes into Man City this season, and they signed a replacement straight away. So look, I think James Trafford should probably stay at Man City, keep developing under being number two to Donnarumma, maybe a loan spell where he can be number one somewhere, maybe back in the Championship or back as a lower Premier League player. But look, I think Man City have got a good keeper there for the future, but he's not ready to be number one, in my opinion.
Newcastle nearly signed him, I think, potentially to be number one, but before City gazumped them. Yeah. So I do think there are a lot of Premier League teams who rate him highly.
Yeah.
And I do think it won't be too long before he's ready for the Premier League.
Yeah, potentially. So would you sign him?
No.
And last but not least, we are going to look at Brighton's goalkeeper, Bart Verbruggen, 23 years of age, 35 million market value. I really rate this keeper highly. Look, he's not the finished article as of yet, but I think as a he plays out the back really well, and I think he suits Brighton's style of play so well. And I think at Spurs he would add that kind of extra value when we're trying to play out the back. I think he still has a bit of developing to do in terms of shot stopping. I think he'll get there. I really do. But I rate him very highly, and I believe in him as a goalkeeper so much, and I actually would sign him.
Yeah, he's done pretty well at Brighton since he's come into the team. Albeit, I thought at the beginning it was kind of inconsistent, but he's obviously nailed down that number one spot. He plays for his national side as well. Yeah, shot stopping, the metrics are not good. Crossing, the metrics are not good. Passing, they're kind of average in terms of the metrics, but when you watch him play, you can see he's got really nice pass and he's quite composed. I think he's kind of work in progress kind of keeper. I think he's developing nicely at Brighton, but I think at the moment, yeah, he's also quite young, 23, same age as Trafford. So
I think he's much more developed than Trafford.
He definitely is. I think he's a bit better physically, but yeah, I'm still undecided on him. I like him, and I think he's really good on the ball, but I'm still not sure about him when it comes to his ability stopping shots. I think that's quite a big problem for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like if we were to sign him, there'll be a bit of a development period there, but I believe in him so much that I'll be willing to go through that and see a few mistakes, because I think down the line, not that far down the line, even next season or another year back behind him in the Premier League, I think he really is going to be a top keeper. I think, like, on the list that we have here, I think in terms of ceiling, I think he might be the best one of the lot. If you're talking about here and now and who can come in and be a top keeper for us, it probably might Maignan. But he is 30 years of age. This guy's, 23. So, yeah, it depends what you want. Do you want someone to come in now that doesn't have too much longevity and be a really good keeper for us? That's fair enough, and you'd go for Maignan. If you want someone that can grow with this young team, maybe Bart Verbruggen's the guy.
I think for me, when it comes to a goalkeeper, I'm pretty happy with it to be an older player, to be honest, and someone a bit more experienced. Obviously, young keepers are great, and just because you're younger doesn't mean you're any worse. But I don't think age is a massive issue for me when it comes to keepers. So I'm pretty happy to go with someone who's a bit more experienced. So I would probably go for Maignan if we can.
Yeah. And look, with his contract running out at the end of the season, it should be one that look, it depends what he wants. Like, if he wants to be playing Champions League football again, that's obviously a big question mark for Tottenham next season. But if AC Milan are actually looking for money this winter, because if his contract is running out at the end of the summer, surely AC Milan are looking at being like, look, we can make a quick 10 million here or 50 million here or whatever it may be. Maybe there's a possibility in January.
I'm trying to think of other top clubs who might be looking for a keeper who maybe he's holding out for if he wants to go on a free somewhere.
Well, in the Premier League, only Chelsea really.
Chelsea, maybe Villa, because there's rumours about Martinez. Newcastle potentially if they're not convinced with Pope or Ramsdale. Yeah, Chelsea. I mean, that's just an obvious.
And obviously
spot,
the link's been there already.
Yeah, so maybe he's just weighing out, get the deal on a free and then move. Wouldn't be surprised if that's on the cards.
Yeah, well, we definitely wouldn't be his first choice if those clubs were in for him. That's a reality.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do the deal for 20 million. Just say, yeah, wait a year and we'll get you on a free.
Well, wait 6 months
or whatever. And I'm saying, was it in the summer they nearly signed him? Yeah. Was that 2 years ago?
No, it was in the summer.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, because they were demanding 25 million, and it's not exactly expensive. So maybe there was discussions behind the scenes saying, look, wait a year, we'll get you on a free, and that's it.
Very potentially. So if Maignan is off the table, let's say, who'd you go for?
On that list, yeah, probably Verbruggen.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with it. So let us know in the comment section below. Do you think these keepers would be a step up on Guillermo Vicario? If you had the choice, which one would you take? Let us know in the comment section below. Looking forward to hearing your opinions. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.